Wacht eerst een trekkie.
Gooi middies.
Well, we're back for our second session, clearly.
Yes.
So Matt, we introduced you already, but we found Shannon Terreblanche.
What a man to find in the moment, eh?
Yes.
Hard to find.
Yeah. Welcome, bro.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man.
No
I'm
worries.
really looking forward to this.
Always wanted to have a chat with you and, I don't know, just catch up. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a long time. I've been off the radar a bit, you know. Always at the motocross. We're not really involved with racing anymore.
No,
and that, you know.
When did you stop, actually?
I
officially.
stopped in 2013, I think. In Germany, I had a big crash. I almost died. I was in hospital for 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, I was in ICU for long. Also, it was bad, you know.
What the
yeah, well, there's a video on YouTube actually it was at a German championship, Adak. Yeah, if you go and look, Eichwald is the track, you know. It's if you look for Shannon Terreblanche Eichwald on YouTube, you'll see it. I landed really hard on my bum, you know. Through a whoop section, I got high-sided, like wide open on a 450. Landed on my bum really hard, and then a few days later I was sick, vomiting and stuff, and I didn't know what was wrong. I went to a hospital in Germany, and they wanted to keep me there, but obviously I had my van was with my team, you know. My team was far away, and obviously most of those guys have normal jobs during the week, so I had to get back to work, and I had to get back to my van, so I didn't stay in hospital. And they said there was like with the ultrasound kind of machine that they were doing some things on my stomach and that. They said there was some internal damage, but they wanted me to stay over, but I couldn't, obviously, you know. Then like 2 or 3 days later, bro, I was just vomiting and I was super, super sick, you know. And then, I went to the hospital and I had problems with my kidneys, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really bad. And then, they said I was almost, the doctor came to me afterwards and said I was on dialysis for long. And he said to me I was super lucky, you know. He said it was almost 12 o'clock. In Germany, when you're dead, it's 12 o'clock, you know. So that's why I got a tattoo on my arm also just before 12, you know.
Really? Okay.
That's crazy.
From that. So, but then, I stopped. I had to stop. I dislocated my wrist also in that crash. After obviously getting through the whole hospital thing and this and that, when I came, I wasn't using my hand in hospital. So I thought it was just obviously from the injury and it would come right, but then it didn't come right. For like a year and a half I was painting helmets with pain all the time, permanently, you know. So I went for x-rays. They said there was nothing wrong. I went for MRI, and then the muscle in the middle here was between the scaphoid bones was torn.
Sure.
And my scaphoid bones were like splintered, you know. So they said to me they were going to either fuse my wrist or they could remove. It was a hand surgeon in Germany, only a big hospital that only works on hands. I saw so many people with operations there. And he said that he's done it once with a basketball player, and he removed the 3 scaphoid bones out of my wrist. So like the movement's all gone. You can see like that movement's all gone. So for like a year and a half, I had so much pain, and I couldn't. They said I'll never ride again. But he obviously did a really good job because I can still ride. And now, I mean, a few years later, now it's all right. You know, I don't really even ride with pain anymore.
So that was. So when did you do the?
That was 2013, and then I stopped for a year and a half. Then I started training.
So you rode with AB?
AB Midas. So I started training the Sun, and then they. Obviously, Essex Africa came to Lofters, you know, and the kid was going to school at just near Lofters, so I was there every day, you know. Okay. So when I saw all that happening and the big billboards and that, I was like, hey, I need to ride. You
need to be in it.
So then I didn't ride for like 2 years. Got on the bike, trained for like 3 weeks maybe, and then it went really good actually. I mean, I had a bit of bad luck there, but obviously when they saw me ride and they were impressed, they said.
And for 3 weeks and training for a Supercross event, it's completely different.
It was, you know, and I mean, I didn't even think I would qualify, you know. I whole shotted. I was leading Jake Weimer for like 2 or 3 laps, and he passed me. I was second the whole motor, and then I crashed in the last lap in the whoops, just because I was so. I hadn't raced for so long. And, it was amazing, cool, you know. I was so pumped, you know. Yeah. So I made a stupid mistake through the whoops. I wasn't even thinking. I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna finish second." Excuse my language, you know.
No, it's fine.
But I was like, "Hey, and then I had to go to the next last chance. Crashed again. I mean, me and Doherty were good friends, you know. He came in, and 6 of us were going to go through. I was second, he was third. Last corner, he comes in and cleans me out, you know. So I had to go to the last chance, you know.
That's so cool.
And then last chance, I got the whole shot again, and I won the last chance. And then in the main, obviously with a bad gate pick, I was like 21st gate pick right on the outside, you know.
And that's a horrible way for the start.
Yeah. So I was, and those supercross starts are super short. They're like 15 meters, 10, 15 meters, you know. So you got 21 guys. But you're never going to get a whole shot from there, you know.
So that inside line was way too tight. So most people, but some went off the track.
Yeah, I went
outside
in the main. I went right over the berm, I think, and joined back on. But I mean, for not riding for so long.
No.
And then, getting back to the other story, then the father phoned me in the morning. My job was to drop the kid at school, and then fetch him from school, and then train him, obviously off-bike training, diet, everything, you know. Yeah. So one morning he tells me, he's like, after the Essex Africa, he tells me, he's like, don't drop the kid off at school, come to my workshop first. So I go to his workshop. He drives us to CRT, to Husqvarna.
Is this Mornay now?
Yeah,
Mornay
no. So the boss of AB Midas.
Okay, Midas
he took us there.
Okay.
But we went to Mornay's shop,
and
there were 2 brand new 450s and 2 brand new 250s. Like, here we go, boys. We're starting a team, you know. So we didn't really even talk about me racing. I just wanted to race the Supercross. And then next they saw that and they were like, hey, you got to ride, you know.
No,
but then, things didn't go so well there. Personal problems, this and that, you know, with them. But anyway, it was good, you know. Gave me some direction and that. I would like to ride again, but at the moment with my training, you know, I feel like I see with the other trainers, no disrespect to them at all, but like the guys that are racing too, you got to be super fit to be winning in the MX1 class or the MX2 class here, you know. So you got to put in so much effort for yourself, and then also to try and put in 100% with the kids also, you know, it's difficult.
But don't you think, just like him, the fact that he rides still, you can not give better training, but demonstrate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do it often. I often do it. I don't race anymore. I always ride, you know. When I do the bigger schools in Germany and that, I ride the whole weekend with them, you know.
Yeah. It's also an easier explanation.
When I do it here now, I ride often with my guys. When I go and then I'll show them sections or whatever, and that does help, if you can, because they get it straight away then.
Yeah.
If I talk to them, it'll take 3 or 4 times to get it. Otherwise, if I just show them once,
it's so
boom,
much
the
easier,
first time they get it right. You know, it really
works. Always from an outside side. Like if you stand in a coach perspective, if you're standing from the outside and you're trying to give some sort of input, it always seems like the younger guys they look at you like stargazing, and it's hard to get it into their heads. Like you said, 3 or 4 times, you need to drill it into them. But now if you're showing them from an outside side, and you just come in and you show them how the line must be done, they're like, oh, it makes sense. It just pops immediately.
It really works, you know. And also when often the little guys, like I got a lot of really fast little guys, you know, they know what they're doing. It's not like you know what I mean? And then I'll tell them.
Who are you helping at the moment?
So I train Valsecki. I've got a lot of guys that I train, you know, but in Joburg at the moment, Matt Correa, you can see what he's doing also. I mean, for his first year in 1 to 5 high school, bro, that's a difficult class, you know.
That's a tough class.
That's like cowboys, you know. They're wide open, super aggressive, you know.
We actually spoke about it at the Cape Town National.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. We were watching as it was the first lap, and the O's just come. There's not one block pass. In one turn, there's like 5 O's getting a front wheel given to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was actually standing in the center, like I was saying now, and I pulled Shannon aside. I was like, "Hey, dude, compared to back in the days, what do you think now?" And he actually turned around and he was like, "No, what he said right now. These O's are cowboys.
They're wild, but they're super good, you know. Yeah. Not like they're just sending it, you know, but they just. I think the testosterone levels are all coming in hot there.
Of course.
And they
the
send it.
So much better.
Yeah, that's also it, you know. But everyone, it's just if you look at, I feel just what they. I mean, when we went there, we went to Europe. I went to Junior Worlds. And I was riding Yamahas here, 85s, and I never rode a Suzuki.
Yamaha,
Okay. And I never rode a Suzuki before, and that's the only bike we could get there. Stock standard 85 Suzuki. And I mean, those things, you know, you need to work them to get them going good.
But I thought they were quite solid bikes.
They were good, but I mean, I had stock suspension. We didn't even change the clickers, not set the sag, nothing, you know. And I barely qualified. I got knocked out on the last lap of qualifying. Yeah. And I had to go to the last chance race. 4 guys went through. I finished 4th. Passed into 4th on the last lap or whatever. And then in the motos, I mean, the first moto I started last, came in from last to 21, and the second moto from 21 to 7 on a stock bike, not even changing the clickers, you know. And that's what I see. Why the riders are so good now is because of the structure around them, you know. I mean, I got 10, 15 guys that I've trained permanently, you know, 3-4 times a week, you know what I mean? And then they got a personal trainer.
They got everything.
They got everything, you know, and that's why you can see the level, I think, in my opinion, why the levels got so big, like so high,
sure.
you know what I mean?
Wow, 100% agree with you
because everything, it's the whole package nowadays, you know?
Yeah. Carry on, I'm just checking levels quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the background music sounds pretty cool. But yeah, you've been on the line with some interesting guys.
Yeah,
you need to tell us about that. Like you also have a relationship with Caroli and all of them. If you go back that
so
far.
I went to me and Caroli are good friends. You know, we went. I went on holiday with him and Jill, his wife. I went to Sicily. I stayed at their place, at his house, and I went to the farm where.
Okay.
If you go look at I've got an old Facebook profile. If you go on the old one, you'll see there's a whole album there of a holiday in Sicily. We went so they came, the owner of Aero Helmets, he came with his private yacht, and he came and fetched us in Sicily at the harbour. We went out for the whole day, me, Tony and Jill, then the guy from Race Support from Aero, then the owner of Aero and his wife and his 2 daughters. We would stand up jet skis on the back, private chefs. It was amazing, you know. But I also went to Caroli's childhood home. His parents were still living there.
Yes.
And you must see where he came from, and that's give me goosebumps, brother. You know what I mean?
You must see,
and you must see how they were really poor. They had nothing, you know. I mean, De Carli took him when he was about 14 or 15 and took him into Italy, mainland from Sicily, and then went and worked with him, you know. But they really came from nothing. But you should have seen how nice the family was and the vibe. But they took me in even, you know. They treated me like their own family, you know.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because have you looked at Langston and Albertine maybe had money, but the people that actually struggled to get somewhere and then you end up in Europe and you can't go home because there is no more.
Well, that's exactly
put it on the line.
You just said what I wanted to say next, you know. I had a Dutch journalist once asked me why South Africans, if motocross is so small in South Africa, why has South Africa made so many Grand Prix riders and world champions even, you know? And I said to him, I was like, because I don't know what it is. What I've realized there is, I see some of the Dutch guys, or the spoiled guys, they got 10 bikes, you know, at home.
They can choose,
They got Solver suspension or factory suspension on each bike.
Yeah,
and if things get tough, motocross, to get to that level and to race there with the best in the world consistently, it's so hard, you know. You'll
be very lucky to get there.
And the thing is, you know what I mean, that's what I say, the thing is, when it gets, I almost quit 15, 20 times. The whole family's fighting, you know what, it's big, it's heavy, you know.
It's also another cool story, on that point, but on the American side of life, is it's called To Be Continued. It's quite an old thing about Ryan Filippato. About his whole background and his upbringing.
I must watch
To Be Continued. It's such a rad, I think it's in 2 parts. But it's about 30 minutes, 40 minutes each.
But this sport destroyed his family quite a bit.
But that's what I mean, bro. That's what I'm saying, you know. That's what I said so I said to him, I was like, because when it gets tough and you want to quit, we can't quit. My parents sold their house for me. We had nothing at home. But I mean, when we stopped racing GPs, my parents came back. They were staying in a granny flat in Durban North under my sister's house with nothing, bro. When they went to England now a few years back, when they got their visas and that, they left with 2 suitcases, bro. That's all they had. Nothing. So when you want to give up and things get hard, you can't. You know what I mean? And I think for someone like I said, some of those Dutch guys who've got so many bikes and that, if things are hard, they're all racing around their home. It's not like they've left to go somewhere. You know what I mean? They're there. If they want to give up, hey, the parents sell the bikes and it's done. You know what I mean? It's just too easy. You need, and it's hard, but you don't understand. I can't tell. You can't, in words, you can't explain how hard it is. People say, "Oh, it's hard," you know, but
you must do it yourself.
I mean, like I said, the whole family's fighting. It's like it was terrible. You know what I mean? And often it happened because, I mean, imagine if you put so much time and effort into it, and then you're riding Europeans, not even GPs. You're riding Europeans. Back in the day when it was a full European Championship, was also 15, 16 races or whatever.
This is now the EMX.
Yeah, the EMX. Now they race at the GP, so they've limited the rounds and that, you know, and the 85s also, they got European groups. those days it wasn't that, you know. So we went to, I think, the first 11 Europeans that didn't qualify. You know what I mean? Think of that. Then you're going not just down the road.
No,
we're leaving Belgium, we're going to Bulgaria. You're going, every weekend is like 15 hours in the car, and then you go there and you don't qualify. You know what I mean?
Like you just said now, you got that mentality, like you 15, 20 times you wanted to quit, and you can't quit.
No, you can't,
but
you
you
no
still,
choice.
The next day you got to wake up and have that grind again. You have to like mentally prepare yourself.
It's intense, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's cool to hear this side of it. There's not a lot of people that can talk about this.
Yeah, dude, we got some stories, my man. We could write a book, I promise you.
Well,
so like in the beginning, you know, we were one of them quickly. Like I slept on a little bench in a Fiat Ducato van. Me and Bob Reshef, head to toe, and we travelled the whole night through. My parents we left and we had we had car problems, and on the way we were on the Autobahn in Germany. You know how strict Germany is, no?
No,
we offloaded the bikes. And I went backwards, bro.
This is crazy story.
I went backwards on the Autobahn to a fuel station to go get the car's wheel fixed. Yeah, there's those cement things in the middle of the road. Obviously, you can't get over with the bike, so we had to ride backwards. But we were on the news, on the radio, and everything. You know?
Really?
And then we finally, it was Friday evening in Koblenz, you know, in Germany. Just left Belgium, pretty much, you know. No spare wheel. Now we decided, what are we going to do? So we drove through the night. My parents stayed awake the whole night. We drove through. Me and Bobby Chef were sleeping like us, bro, on a little bench, head to toe. And he's a Russian. He's a big bro. He was always big.
How is he? A bear fighter.
I chat to him still a lot. He's awesome, man. He's a lovely guy, you know, one of the best. A lot of the, I don't want to talk bad, but a lot of the GP guys, it gets to you, know, and they become very arrogant in that. But like Karoli, Bobby Chef, those are amazing, you know, to still be at that level and then to still be so grounded, you know.
I want to agree because I think Prado's head is already floating a bit.
But it's floating,
it's easy,
but it's,
you know. I mean, even Hellings was the same, brother. I messaged them on Facebook a while back, you know, and I said to him, I was like, you know, I'm always rooting Jeffrey Hellings. So I messaged him, I was like, you know, I'm always rooting for Karoli, you know, but I said, but what you did the other day was amazing. And like, he's also, when he was younger, I think everyone when they're young, it gets to your head, you know, you got all that around you and you're still too young to deal with it, you know, it's going to blow your head up, you know. But a lot of them then when they get a little bit older, it changes, you know, they get a bit more humble. Like Hellings is amazing now, you know. He's really
from a lot of documentaries about Hellings, a lot of people say like, not say because they don't have that perspective, but it seems like he's quite the aggressive guy, which brings across a bit of arrogance, if that makes sense.
I mean, he even tuned me once while we were standing in line when he was really young, like 14 or whatever, just come up. And we were standing waiting for our prize money, you know. And he was like, what are you standing here for? Like that, you know. What are you getting? You know what I mean? But you had to be top 10 to get the money anyway.
But I think he's strong and assertive, so it doesn't mean you're arrogant.
It works with him.
You can go. Sorry,
You can come. Oh, okay.
All good, yeah.
Tell her to come upstairs. No problem. Come up.
Put the puppy in front of the camera.
No, but it's very cool to hear the side of things that a lot of people, like especially in a race like this, the Motocross of African Nations, there's not a lot of people that are here that are able to take these kind of stories.
Yeah, for sure. And we will definitely sit down once the show's fully fledged on 100%,
the go. 100%, man.
And
we'll have more
because
time.
You're in town quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm always around, you know.
Yeah. We still need to make a little arrangement.
Yeah, we're going to do that, definitely. We've been talking about that. Do some training overseas.
It's going to take me a long time to get to Shannon's level. But yeah, just to do... I want to build little training schools. Yeah, you know, there's not a lot of training schools that happen out in Cape Town, and there's a lot of potential.
Move to Cape Town, you know. I mean, join
training school. So training school. What does Dean do? What does Jan do? What does...
So Jan's got, I think Jan Ryan mainly focuses on his little 50s, which is doing absolutely wonderful with. He's taking them on these wingers.
Yeah, I saw what he was doing now. So I went to Kenya, and some of the Kenyan guys that I was training, I saw he was working with them, and I saw some videos on their social media of what he was doing, and he looked like he was really doing some good stuff for them.
Well, Jan could ride.
I think he's also adapted well to the youngsters, you know, like the 50s, 65s. He really gels well in that mix. Then you obviously got your Dean Hoffman that... He's got his set riders.
Yes.
You know, he's stuck with his set riders.
Dean's a machine, though, you know. Normally, whenever when I can't make it down to come and train here before National and some of my guys are here, I send them to Dean, you know, always, you know.
But you were saying school, so explain a bit.
So, like, you know, just
like a training weekend, you know.
Yeah. So Shannon's got, obviously, he's got his way of training, and then I got my way of training. Everyone's got their own way of training. But to try and combine it and give, let's say, for example, one of his riders come and ask, me something on the sideline. It just gives them a different view on things.
They often do it in Europe.
Yeah.
In Holland, they have weekends with like a lot of riders, and then they'll have like 5 or 10 trainers, you know.
Okay.
And they've got little sections. They'll do different things, and then they'll pass the groups between the trainers, so that you're getting like
you might pick up something from
you're getting different, you're getting different feedback from them, you know.
We'll work hand in hand, and you know, like I'll learn from him, he'll learn from me if there is anything to learn. But I think it's just cool for the riders as well. So now, let's say, for example, a rider's been with Shannon now for, let's say, a year, and now I come from another side and just give my little input.
Yeah, and you're
it's
working
cool.
on different
you get
things,
a change.
you know, 100%.
It makes you want to do more, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I got my riders now. I've been working with them for the past 7 months, if I stand to be corrected. But 7 months, and now Durko came down a week earlier and we assisted him. I was like, hey, dude, we're here to help. We're all here as a family.
Well, that's good.
And he took my 2 boys on for 2-3 days, and they loved it. Not that they're saying I'm a bad guy.
No, it's just different things.
Just get
everyone's got different. You got different things that you work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it helps you have, and especially what he's saying to do. If we could do like a weekend with 2 trainers, you get much more information coming in and from 2 different minds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And different experiences. You
But
know?
I do think the whole. I know John Wakefield is now gone and stuff, but you should somehow grab that whole.
Hey, you see how well that Oak is doing in the Tour de France
100%.
stories.
Oh, really?
He's running teams.
Yeah, he's running
he ran
teams.
team UAE Emirates. They won the Tour de France with him.
But he's done with the
but he's been
motocross side
working
of
in that.
things.
He's been doing the cycling things for long.
Yeah.
But that side things need to pick up around here, I think.
And I think Calvin Flanderen's still working with him.
No,
really?
Calvin is also done apparently.
Oh, is it?
So Peloton as such is
just stopped with motocross guys
with
completely.
motocross, because he's busy with his.
Yeah, but I mean that's a
Makes
full-time
sense.
thing, eh?
Yeah.
To do two different sports like that, if you're so involved,
But I
that's
think
a
that
mission.
kind of thing is also important. He did well, eh?
No, he did.
I mean,
No.
Anthony, you,
Yeah,
Caleb,
Tennant.
I don't know if you
few.
were
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
involved with him.
yeah.
Yeah, John did well for himself, and to see what he's doing now is amazing.
that's wonderful.
Is he from here? Or?
Yes,
From
from
Cape Town, okay.
Ireland.
Yeah, I know. I've heard of him a lot. I don't really know him that well, you know.
Well, he never.
But
he
I
was
know.
hardly at the races even.
Oh,
It's just
okay. Behind the computer. Yeah.
But to go into
Send your
his little
graphs.
pain cave some days was a nightmare.
Is
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still love the guy, but
Heavy.
like you said, not even close to your side of things, or saying like if you wanted to quit and how hard and tough things got.
Yeah, but
we
still, the
had
training
the
you got to
opportunity
still.
and get there in the morning, and it's like, okay, what have you had for breakfast? Because am I going to see it on my floor later? Type of thing.
Yeah.
So he used to drill us, but it was good. It worked out. It benefited from it.
Awesome, man. I'm glad he's been good also, you know.
Yeah.
That's lucky, man.
No, so there's some South Africans. Listen, I never. Well, the BTs for one. There's a lot of mechanics and stuff that I only hear of now. That's obviously been gone for a long time. So
there were loads, you know, like also Tyler Rattray's mechanic, Kelly Lumgear, you know, and then Wayne Lumgear was Tyler's mechanic in the beginning, then Kelly took over, but he also went to America.
One of them married to Tyler's mom?
Yeah, Wayne's still married.
Wayne?
Wayne's still married to Wayne's still married to Tracy, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, the other brother, he went to and started working for, I think he was maybe even, I'm not 100% sure, I could be wrong, but he was working for Jesse Nelson, I think. Who's that? Jesse Nelson, the one who got paralyzed.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
I think he worked for him, and he was winning championships when he got paralyzed.
Jesse Nelson, Suzuki's Jesse Nelson.
No, he
rode
was on TLD.
KTM. He rode KTM then. He was factory KTM.
Troy Design, I think it was.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he races buggies now. You must check him out on Instagram.
That's great.
He was very, very good. He races like, because he's paralyzed, he does these like, but these big 4x4 buggies up rocks and shit. You must see.
Not like that Badger 500.
I don't know exactly. I don't really know what that is. I'm not really up to date
like
with
a
all
desert
that,
racing type of.
Yeah, but you must go and have a look. He does some gnarly things on there. He's like taken now, obviously with the being paralyzed, what do, you know? He's like got a whole new outlook, you know, and he's really lucky to see, you know. A lot of guys fall off the wagon when that happens, you know. They go into depression and that, but I've seen a good few of motocross guys channel their energy into something different, you know, another sport that they can.
It still revolves around motorsport somewhat.
It has to,
yeah.
You have to have it.
That's sure.
No, but it's been good catching up with you, my man.
Thanks, brother.
No problem.
Nice to chat
thank
to
you,
you
Shannon.
guys. I really
and
enjoyed
we
that.
will definitely
we'll make a plan when we've got a bit more time and we can slow down and get in and go
so
to
this
some
was
stories.
just a
I've
quick
got some
catch
good
up, but it
stories.
was actually very nice. Thank you.
Awesome.
Keep well, my man.
Thanks.